Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for spending some time with me on this Friday. And if you've taken time out of your busy schedules to support me, I really do appreciate that. All right, so I want to give you a couple secondary patterns that I've really done well on this time of year. Now, I've done videos talking about I like to go and find fish and then come back to them with a jig or throw a big topwater walking bait. And most of my success has come flipping or throwing a topwater in the fall. Mix in a little bit of lipless crankbait and chatterbait if there's grass in the lake, but a lot of times it's two different patterns that are completely different, and those off-the-wall patterns are a great way to go searching for bass that really weren't around yesterday and just get a couple extra bites, because this time of year you're only going to get like 7 or 8 bites. So if you are doing something like flipping, punching, where you really have fish that are just condensed, you have like 2 good places and you can fish them both multiple times throughout the day, but you'll have like hours to just go do something else, I'm going to give you a couple things to go try, because I think they're really good when you have changing fish that are scattered, they're leaving, they're chasing bait, they become pelagic. So here it goes. Now, a topwater walking bait, I've talked about this a lot. This is one that is a no-brainer for me, and I've done this quite a bit, especially on lakes that have grass, but also not all of the bass are related to the grass. So I'll be out there punching, punch, catch a big one, catch a keeper, go an hour or two without a bite, and then I run across a place where there's bait flickering, or there was bait flickering days ago, or it's a place where I just got one bite and then stayed there for a half hour and kept fishing and didn't get a bite. So it was like, there's not a whole lot of fish there, but you can still pick up that random one. Instead of just fishing the point, fish the whole cove. The fish aren't really on anything. They're kind of suspended. They're anywhere. So fish the whole point, fish the whole cove, go into the back of it, get up on the flat, whatever you got to do, but just cover some water and you will pick up that lucky bite. So a topwater walking bait, you can interchange that topwater walking bait also with the jerkbait. I really do like a jerkbait this time of year, and I am not a good jerkbait fisherman. I don't claim to be that to be a strength of mine, rather, but this doesn't really have to be a strength. This just has to be something that you can cover water with. It's a fish catcher. You don't have to be great. Your cadence and all that, and being a great, knowing how to jerk it on a slack line and all that, that's not so important. Bass are just feeding. They're random, and you never know when you're going to catch them, but they still are in like a feeding mood. It's just hard to pattern those fish. So for that reason, run through there with a topwater walking bait or run through there with a jerk bait. And a lot of times you'll pick up that 1 or 2 bites to go along with your pattern that is a strength of yours, like punching or flipping, and your day where you would only came in with 3 or maybe 4 fish, now you got 6 or 7 or 8. So very important. Now, I will also mix in random wood to get big bites. And this can be done with a bigger size square bill. I've seen this where, it's a bait that is great, right? It's a crankbait, but most people don't throw that bigger size. So when a lot of people throw this bait, on just lakes that have bigger forage than this, it is a really good bluegill imitator, and it is a really good bait that fish haven't seen. So I will go down docks, laydowns if I have one stump, and most of the time this is just for one kicker fish. So I'm not going to go and try to catch my limit doing this, especially if I'm fishing around docks, because that's a pretty tedious bite, and I'm not really looking to fish docks unless it's a dock lake. But if it's not, you're not really on a dock pattern. You're just basically going there to hunt one big bite. So tie on your 3.0s, your 4.0s, those big square bills, reel them fast, get around the dock, fish all the posts. Cranking around docks is really effective. And when you have bass that aren't necessarily just hunkered down at this point, they're kind of moving in and moving out, you burn a crankbait around them that they have not witnessed all year, you will sometimes get a bite. But again, this is fishing for one big one. I come in and fish 5 or 6 docks, and if I don't catch anything, go back to doing whatever it was that I was doing. Let my 2 places that I have where I'm catching them consistently rest, go hunt one big bite. And the same thing goes with that one stump. Go throw at that stump at 9 o'clock, come back to it at noon, come back to it at 2 o'clock. You never know when a bass may pull up. And a lot of times if it's isolated cover, it's going to have one big bass on it. But the biggest thing this year, any tournaments that I've ever done well on, it's typically off of like 2 spots. You know, I may have a flat where I can kind of sit on it all day and I'm seeing bass, I'm seeing schools of gizzard shad come through, I'm seeing fish blow up every once in a while, and I can just stay there and it's 100 yards and I can go back and forth, or it's a point with a drain where I can fish around the point, get in the drain, or maybe it's just a long stretch. And if I keep a bait in the water there for every 25, 35, 45 minutes, whatever it needs to be, I get a bite. But those places don't last day after day after day. You know, you have to let them rest and go do something else. And that's why I think it's very important to go hunt a big bite and go fish for fish that are just pelagic and hard to catch, hard to pattern. You don't have to worry about fishing pressure, because no one's really going to spend the time on those type spots sitting there, because there's not really a school of fish that's just positioned there. They come in, they feed, they're gone. So show up, cover some water with that jerk bait or that topwater walking bait, or go fish lay downs, any type of wood that's in the water for one big bite with a big bait, and hopefully that will be a way to catch a giant that can cull out one of those little 1.5-pounders that you caught. So try that, guys. These are kind of off the wall, big fish and limit filling patterns that I've mixed in with my deal, or the things that I'm confident in. So try that, guys. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.